was kind of surprised to hear that. I mean, typically by the time you roll the car off the scales, they give them the opportunity to put weight in the cars. Usually fine. We may not know till later, so you just kind of keep going on with your life and prepare for the next race. And obviously, it just came out yesterday. They're not feeling, so we move on and they're around 8 and off we go.
Joey Logano had a roller coaster of emotions during last weekend's round of 12 elimination race at the Charlotte Roval. He watched helplessly as Tyler Reddick sped through the field on fresh tires, chipping away at the points deficit while Logano was unable to move ahead. At the finish line, Reddick led by only 4 points. However, around 2.5 hours later, everything changed. When Alex Bowman's number 48 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet failed to satisfy minimum weight standards during post-race tech, he was disqualified and lost points, forcing him out of the playoffs.
Yeah, so unfortunately, when we were running the 48 through, it didn't pass the minimum weight specs. So we pulled the car off to the side and we allowed them to fuel it, which they already did. We let them fuel it again. We let them run the pumps to make sure all the pickup boxes were full.
Logano's title chances were promptly resurrected when he replaced Bowman in the round of 8. Alex Bowman's inspection failure rekindled his title aspirations, and the two-time NASCAR Cup Series winner publicly reacted to the news for the first time on Tuesday. He has finally opened up on what appears to become another NASCAR cheating scandal, this time from Hendrick Motorsports. Before we dive in, rumors are spreading HMS did this on purpose, to try and get all 4 cars in the final 8. Do you think this could have been the case? And if they did it during the last race, who's to say they haven't done it before this season? And who knows if they've got some trick for the final 8 rounds as well? What do you think? Now on to Logano's thoughts on this. Logano, addressing to the media on Tuesday, said he had heard reports of a tech delay but was not getting his hopes up. When it became official and Hendrick Motorsports chose not to appeal the penalty, their disappointment transformed to sheer jubilation. "I was obviously surprised," Logano remarked at a Tuesday media appearance. "I heard rumors before that of a delay in tech and some of those things going on. Usually nothing happens. It was kind of a surprise to hear that. Typically, by the time you roll the car off the scales, they give them the opportunity to put weight in the cars and you're usually fine. But in this case, that wasn't the case and I was like, well, would we be in?" That's the first question you have to ask, and obviously the answer was yes, and then you're still kind of cautiously optimistic because you're thinking, well, there probably will be an appeal if there is, and we may not know until later. So you kind of keep going on with your life and preparing for the next race. "I was starting to move forward," further explained the Team Penske driver. "You get there literally the moment we get out of the race car. It takes a little bit to get your thoughts collected, and honestly, by the time I was driving home, my wife and I were talking about something far more important than what we were doing at the racetrack. My mind was already starting to shift on what were the next moves and kind of getting over the race. Then I started hearing the rumors from there and the phone started to ring shortly after." Despite having a bit of a bad year compared to prior seasons, Logano seems to be in a very good position. Penske has won back-to-back titles in the next-gen era, as well as races at every venue in the playoffs last round. "Trends are trends for a reason," Logano said, adding that Penske has a tendency for rising to the occasion when the championship trophy is within reach. His thrilling win at Martinsville in 2018 propelled him to the Championship 4 and enabled him to win his first title against Martin Truex Jr. In 2022, his round of 8 victory in Las Vegas propelled him back into the Championship 4, where he defeated Ross Chastain to win the title. Homestead, which now serves as the middle race in this cycle, was the deciding factor when Logano won his first championship. And, sure, he did win that race. "We've done it before, we can do it again," he said, when questioned about his prospects in this round. Logano's season has been the worst of the last 8 drivers in contention heading into Vegas, despite 2 race victories. He ranks last in top 5s and top 10s, and has the lowest average finish among the round of 8 field. But he's obviously improved since the playoffs started, particularly in qualifying. He has advanced to the pole round in 5 of the previous 6 races, which is important if he wants to earn stage points. Logano feels he can go forward in terms of points, despite sitting bottom in the reset rankings. He is 40 points behind Kyle Larson, who leads the point standings, but just 11 points behind the cut line. "I feel like we've been steadily getting better and improving throughout the season to where we are now. I feel confident in the speed we have in our car," said Logano, who later added, "The stats may not look like it. It may look like we're underdogs from the outset looking in, But internally, we feel very confident in our race team that we can make a run at this thing and get ourselves into the championship 4. We've seen it in the past where you get in there and anything can happen at Phoenix. The goal right now is to look at the next 3 races and how do we maximize that. We can point our way in. We're only 11 out, so it's not a lot of points by no means. It can happen very quickly, so one race at a time. Right now, the focus is Vegas, and we'll try to maximize the day there. We've lived this story many times before. Would it be easier if you had more playoff points? Yeah, but you know what? You win this weekend, and you're sitting as the favorite going into Phoenix. So it changes like that, and that's with the playoff system that we have. Every point matters throughout the whole season. I'm not discounting that, but you have to be your absolute best at this point in the season, or else those points don't even matter. So I feel confident in our team that we've got that. We're still alive, we're still going, and that's the name of the game in these playoffs. You just have to stay alive long enough. I said it last year that we did not accomplish that. This year, we're going to keep the pressure on all the way through. However, the playoffs are notoriously unpredictable, and the current car has further exacerbated this. Half of the playoff races have been won by drivers who did not make the playoffs, with 18 different drivers visiting victory lane this season. Logano seems unaffected by the abrupt move from elimination to surprise re-entry into contention on Sunday night. "It's NASCAR, man," smiled Logano. "I don't know what to tell you. Expect the unexpected. You've got to go and just roll with the punches and go with the flow and just continue on. I feel like these days more and more there are just seasons like this. There's just more crazy things that can happen than ever before, and a lot of that is due to the next-gen car." Logano is part of a loaded round of 8 lineup that features 4 drivers that have won at least one title: Logano, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, as well as 4 drivers competing for their first: Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Tyler Reddick. As we all know, this is an even year, and Logano understands how to make it to Championship 4. Logano won the title in 2018 and 2022, finishing 4th in 2014, 2nd in 2016, and 3rd in 2020. If history is any guide, Logano will be back in a month. And, as Joey Logano stays in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, Kevin Harvick discusses Logano's prospects of winning the championship despite sitting 8th in the playoff standings. That 22 Logano team, they've been in positions before where they've been in the playoffs out of the playoffs and been able to perform, Harvick said. When you look at the 22 car on the mile-and-a-half racetracks in general, they obviously haven't been as good as what they need to be compared to Hendrick cars and the Chevrolets, the Joe Gibbs cars especially at Las Vegas. We saw them not run great. I think when you look at the Fords in general that are left with Ryan Blaney and Logano, Blaney is going to be the pick. But I can tell you this, if they do have anything that's better, Las Vegas has been a place that the Penske cars have run well, Harvick continued. What do you think? Does Logano stand a chance, even whilst he's still below the cutoff line? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.